Hey, Karen, remember back in the 80s when everyone was talking about how some of those rock and roll albums, if you played them backwards, they'd reveal hidden messages?
Yes, and I totally tried that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I
it
think
didn't
I
work?
did it wrong. I don't know.
Well-
It just sounded like I scratched the record, which I ended up doing. So,
Well, apparently that is actually a real thing.
oh,
Yeah, and today we have the absolute expert in the field. He actually founded, I don't even know whether to call it a foundation or a company that actually dives into this stuff. And we're going to dive into just what these messages are, how they were discovered, what, if anything, these reverse messages are trying to tell us. He's even going to share some soundbite examples with us that are absolutely going to blow your mind.
wow.
Yeah. It's called reverse speech, and this phenomenon of hidden backward messages in speech is what this episode is all about. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the
Skeptic
Skeptic Metaphysicians. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that on our website, we do have a members-only section exclusively reserved for listeners who join the community. The membership is always free and comes with a weekly newsletter that provides insight and reminders about our current and past episodes, along with suggested topics and shows that are companions to the topics we discuss on the show. Now, the best part about joining our community, membership includes access to the members-only section of the site that provides added benefits of discounts for products and or services from some of our past guests. So head on over to skepticmetaphysician.com and join our community right now so you don't miss out. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And we are the hosts for the show. Today, I want to introduce David Oates, who describes reverse speech as another form of human communication. He actually feels that language is bi-level, it's forward and reverse, and as our brains construct the sounds of speech, it actually forms those sounds in such a way that two messages are delivered at the same time, totally without us realizing it. One message forwards, which is the conscious mind speaking, and the other in reverse, which is the unconscious mind speaking. David, I can't wait to dive into these sound bites. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. That was a very good introduction, by the way, as to what reverse speech actually is. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you. Karen, I finally nailed one.
Well, I think, did you just read what he wrote?
No, I actually rearranged some of the stuff you wrote and made it into my own
You
words.
paraphrased.
Well, no, David, we're super excited. I know I tried to describe it the best I
Sure.
could, but give us a rundown of exactly how you see reverse speech.
Right. Okay. Well, look, okay, you started off with talking about those backward messages in music back in the 80s. That's where most people heard about it. The fundamentalist Christians were on the bandwagon, and they were saying that these are all satanic and, Satan speaking through the mind of singers. And, of course, many of us, as you said, got their turntables back in those days and wound it backwards. So
It ruined our records.
yeah, that's right. So I got involved in it at that level, and back in '83, I was running a halfway house for street kids, and they've been playing their records backwards, and said, "Well, what do you think about all of this?" So anyway, I went home and I got out a record and ran it backwards, and I could hear what was there. I was quite intrigued, and the fundamentalists claimed that it was all satanic, but gee whiz, I was finding a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't satanic. Let me play you a message in music that is not satanic at all. So this is the Creedence Clearwater Revival.
It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home.
And backwards it says, "I believe in my cool woman."
I believe in that cool woman. I believe I go for my
I played it twice there. So, so I started finding these type of messages. And I go, well, this isn't satanic. Well, what are they talking about? And then in '87, I started a serious research project into it because I was really fascinated by it. And then I accidentally stumbled across the phenomenon in normal human speech, and purely by mistake. And that sort of put a whole different twist on it altogether. It's sort of one thing to play records back and say, oh yeah, listen, that sounds cool, but then to suddenly hear it in speech, it's like, oh wow, gee, this puts a whole different spin on it. And so I started diving into speech, and I found these backward messages once every 20 or 30 seconds of speech, and I was stunned. And
Wow.
I was sure there had to be some work on it somewhere, so I went to my local. This was for the days of the internet, of course. Went to my local library, looked through psychology and linguistic books, and there was no mention of this phenomenon anywhere. And sorry, except for a couple of fundamentalists claiming it was all the devil's work. And
Right.
Right. Of course. You're always going to find those.
of course, you can find them anywhere.
Yeah.
So it just sort of dawned on me I had a whole new sort of phenomenon on my hand that no one had ever discovered before. Let me play you an example in normal everyday speech. Okay, so
Okay.
this is just from a casual room conversation. Let's run it forwards.
This is just one of many, many lifetimes where we are here to develop the soul, basically. And when that is achieved, the soul will ascend.
I can play a small clip backwards, and you'll hear him say, "I love each day,"
I love you today.
I love you today.
and once more.
I love you today.
Yeah, and let's
Oh,
play.
That gives you goosebumps.
I know, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
It's so clear. I thought it would be like you kind of
I
kind of
know.
sounds like it,
I know.
Right, and that was the thing about it. When I heard him on the other show, I was amazed. Like these are absolutely clear messages, and he's got samples of presidential speeches and all kinds of things that actually show very deliberate messages that the subconscious mind is giving to us. Now, David, you mentioned you stumbled on these things. How does someone go about stumbling? Because Karen tried and she ruined her records.
it wasn't a stumble; it was a crash and burn.
Well, I actually, how I stumbled across it was I actually got a track of old radio broadcasts. I was looking for some songs from the 20s and 30s, to see if I could find it back there. And I was playing this whole thing backwards. And this is the very first one I found in human speech. And I played this track forwards.
It's one small step for man,
I recognize that.
one giant leap for mankind.
Because we all know those famous words.
Mhm.
And backwards, whole different message. Man will spacewalk.
Never spacewalk. Never spacewalk.
So that's the first one I found in speech. And so that's how I accidentally stumbled across it, and then I started running speech backwards. So, and I wrote my theory. I came up with the name reverse speech in April of '87. Then I wrote my theory, which you so eloquently explained, that language is bi-level, forwards as well as backwards. This is not a spiritual or occultic phenomenon. It's not demons. It's not angels. It's not ETs. I mean, I've heard all of them over the years. It just simply is a natural form of language. Just as just as body language expresses our feelings and who we really are, well, reverse speech does that too. It enables us to see who we are on the deepest level.
Do you think we are communicating with each other on that level too? So
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
Will's
Oh,
speaking to
sure.
me, I'm hearing it, and
Yeah, I've found entire conversations played backwards. Where you'll get I'd like a cup of coffee. Oh, what would you like? Sugar with it? Yes, please. Not quite.
Nuh-uh, you did not.
Oh,
Did you
yeah,
really?
Sure.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
let me play you. See, conversations take a little bit longer to play, but let me play you a reversal that is obviously a question. Where is it? It's obviously a request. Here it is. Okay, this is a reporter, not a reporter. This is a man talking to a reporter who's suspected of sending his wife a threatening letter. Okay, I'll play this forwards.
Well, she says it was in your handwriting.
Well, then she should produce that letter, and let's have a look. Have you seen the letter?
Yes, I have. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay, so she says, "Do you want to see it?" But just before she says, "I want to see it," do you want to see it? He says backwards, I want to see that letter.
I want to see that letter. I want to see that letter.
You hear that?
I want to see that letter.
And
What?
what's this?
Very
Oh
clearly.
my gosh.
Yeah. Now, what's this? I'll play the whole track forwards. Listen to this.
Well, she says it was in your handwriting.
Well, then she should produce that letter, and let's have a look. Have you seen the letter?
This is where the reversal occurs.
I want to see that letter.
And then she says,
Yes, I have. Do you want to see it?
so she responds to his reverse message. I want to see that letter. Oh, do you want to see it? And that happens all the time in conversation. You know, you might be just about to say something or say, oh, would you like a cup of coffee? The person says, yeah, I was just thinking that. And in many cases, we are actually communicating in reverse. It's the other hidden part of conversation that we don't see or hear consciously.
So subconsciously, we're hearing these reverse messages that
Yes.
we're each giving to each other,
Yes.
and we respond to those
Yes.
messages consciously without even
Yes.
realizing that we're doing that.
Exactly correct. It
Is
gives a
fascinating.
scientific explanation to what we think is intuition or that hidden knowing. This
That
is how
mind
it's
reading.
happening through this second form of human communication. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, I see you
That's
guys have got it.
mind-blowing. I
The
don't even
pennies
know
drop.
what to say.
Look,
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing discovery. It's a revolutionary discovery. Once it's accepted, it's going to change society's approach to so many different things. I mean, we're going to have to be honest for the first time ever, and that's going to be tough, I tell you.
Do you have any examples of where someone's saying something and then you play it in reverse and they're lying, like they're saying something
lots of
different?
them.
Ooh,
All right. Yeah.
Leave it
now it's getting interesting.
Leave it to Karen. Show me the good stuff, David.
All right.
Who got
All right.
busted?
All right. Look, I'm not making any political statements, okay? I'm just playing examples of reverse speech. Here's
Okay.
Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Calls women pigs.
And she says, and I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you. And I'll scam you. And I'll scam you.
Nice and clear. I'm sure you'd agree. But
Yeah.
Let's just not do Hillary. Let's do Trump as well for the sake of fairness. Where's the one on Trump I'm looking for?
I don't even know what
Yeah,
to
this one
expect
here.
with Trump.
Okay. Here's Trump talking about
Yes.
Mexico is going to pay for the wall.
What's the difference? I want to get the wall started. I don't want to wait a year and a half until I make my deal with Mexico. So, and we probably will have a deal sooner than that. And by the way, Mexico has been so nice.
But he says backwards, they will not deal with us.
We will deal with us. We will deal with us.
You hearing that one okay? So he was lying when he said Mexico's going to pay for the wall. He knows, well, no, they're not really going to do that. And of course, as we know, Mexico did not pay for the wall. So the reversal turned out to be quite true.
So you heard it here. Trump knew that they were not going to pay for the wall.
Absolutely
Finally, it's
correct.
revealed.
So do you think the person has to be like thinking this other thing, or is it just like did he maybe subconsciously he knew they weren't going to pay for it, but he really consciously thought that they might?
Yeah. Look, some of the reversals you get, people are aware of having those thoughts at the time of speaking. Yes, so it can reveal unconscious thoughts. I'm sorry, conscious thoughts. But that's only like, gee whiz, maybe 20% of all the reversals. Most of them are coming from the unconscious. We're not aware of what we're saying or what we're feeling. And that's where the real scary thing about reverse speech can come out. I mean, you'll start to get personality behaviours come out in reverse that you consciously are not aware of. And then it gets quite threatening. I was working with a client the other day. This is how I make my living. I use reverse speech in therapy. I've got quite an active therapeutic practice. And I was working with a client the other day, and she had a reversal, said, I am a narcissist. And I found that, I go, oh my God, I got to play of this. So I played it to her, and she went into immediate denial. But a couple of weeks later, we had another session. She said, you know what, I've been thinking about that, and I can see those tendencies in me, So, yeah, it can reveal parts of us that we don't want to know, that we don't want to see.
So police could use this for interrogations.
Oh, sure. I work with the police on not many cases, about a half a dozen. Let me play you an example that illustrates this. This is Scott Peterson. If you can remember the case back in the early 2000s, Scott Peterson was accused of murdering his wife, who went missing, and he was subsequently found guilty. Here he is before the trial, being interviewed by a reporter who says, "Did you murder your wife?"
Did you murder your wife? No. I did not.
So he's denying it. No, I did not. But he run it backwards and he says, "Neck, I hit hard."
Neck, I hit hard. Neck, I hit hard.
And when they found his wife's body, she was decapitated. So as he's denying it, he's flashing back in his mind and remembering, I hit her hard on the back of the neck. So, so the uses in police interrogation work are very, very exciting. The case I work with in the Australian police actually located where the murder weapon was, and the reversal was it's in the cellar, and the police got a search warrant and raided the house and found it hidden in the cellar.
Wow.
Okay, so
you look a little bit stunned.
but here's where my skeptical mind comes in, right? Because yes, they all sound fairly distinct. I mean, I heard everything that you said, that they said backwards. I heard it. I certainly did. But could this not just be straight coincidence that the gibberish kind of arranges itself into a rate of speech that could perhaps we could read something into it? I mean,
the knife was in the cellar, Will.
But there's hundreds of thousands of hours of speeches. You're bound to run into a couple that will inevitably say something backwards, no?
Look, that's a very common criticism. Ironically, when I first went public, the skeptics were, well, these things don't exist. We're just imagining it. Now they're at least saying that they exist. We can hear it, so that's good. But let's look at coincidence. I mean, what are the odds of running a tape backwards and every 20 or 30 seconds finding a grammatically correct sentence that directly relates to the forward dialogue? I mean, that's the odds of that occurring at such a regular interval is stunning. Here, let me play you an example that is so stunning. There's no way this can be coincidence. Let me play this. This is Donald Trump talking to Hillary Clinton about Hillary Clinton's emails. Okay, so we'll run it forwards.
When he gave up that email thing, he said, "Here, Hillary." And you know what? That was orchestrated by the Democratic Party.
Okay, so two words are significant. He says Hillary and email. And we run it backwards, and he says, "Hillary, let's see this email."
Hillary,
So what are the odds of hearing Hillary and email, both forwards and backwards, in a grammatically correct sentence that's directly related to the forwards? You tell me.
I'm sure it's astronomical.
Yeah.
And I will say that the fact that, like, for example, the state of Oregon is starting to use it in criminal investigations, but they don't take it as sight unseen. They correlate DNA evidence with these reverse messages and things. So there is something for sure, there. But it just blows your mind when you think about the fact that these are people who are just speaking, and somehow subconsciously these messages are coming out. So maybe all those religious people back in the 80s were right. Maybe KISS was the knights in service of Satan.
I have no comment on that. I stick clear of satanic messages.
Some things you don't want to hear.
Right. Wow. There is so much more to dive into with reverse speech, including examples of premonitions discovered in backward speeches, as well as what it sounds like when a baby's speech is reversed. You don't want to miss those. I promise they will send shivers down your spine. But before we go there, a friend of ours has a show that we absolutely love, and we bet you will too. Have a listen.
Hey, beautiful people, meditation is the new it thing. I mean, less stress sounds good, right? And your doctor recommends it, and after a yoga class, you always feel so good. But what exactly are you supposed to be doing? Clearing your head? Yeah, right. And how are you supposed to find the time to do it every damn day? Hi, my name is Sherry Augustine Flake, and I'm the stress therapist. I've been working in the Metro Atlanta mental health community for over 25 years. I teach people how to get better at stress and stop procrastinating and stay motivated while they work on healthy habits like meditation and happy living. Meditation is about as good for you as water, and I want you to have this. I can show you not only exactly what to do when you're meditating, but how to get this practice into your life with regularity so you too can finally reap all of the benefits that this sacred practice has to offer. What you get is meditation for people living in the real world. Let's explore together meditation. WTF.
And now back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. How can you find these messages? I mean, we heard early on that Karen ruined her record collection trying to find these things going backwards. So do you just spend your days with records and playing them backwards, or do you have a machine that does it? How does it work?
Well, we have software now that finds it. We have video software too, which is fantastic to actually see the video clips run backwards and the lips movements, mouth out the reversals. It's absolutely stunning to see.
Ooh.
Anyway, now I forgot the question.
Just how do you?
How
what
do
kind
you
of
do it?
software
Okay,
do you
right.
use?
Okay,
Yeah.
back in the early days, I did modify cassette players. You know, I would open the cassette players up, modify it, and to play forwards and backwards with a little variable speed control. It was a very, very amateurish modification. But for 20 years now, we've had software. It's available from our website where you can just go in and download the software. It'll play the track forwards and backwards and at very, very variable speeds. We also have video software that runs video backwards, and that adds a whole new dimension to the phenomenon. When you actually see the lip movements, mouth out the reversal, and the body language signals happening at the same time, it's stunning. It takes your breath away.
Wow.
I can only imagine. So you're saying that these pieces of software are on your site. People can download it and actually try it for themselves?
Correct. Yes, go to my site at reversespeech.com. Also, while I'm advertising my site, I made a management decision last week to give all of my 10 reverse speech books away for free in PDF format. So if you go to my site and go to the product section of the page, you can get all 10 of my books.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to put a direct link in our show notes for you. So if you're interested in his books or the software, you can go directly to our website, skepticmetaphysician.com, and go to his episode page, and you'll see the link directly laid in there. But we're not going to let you off quite so easily. I understand that this reverse speech isn't just in the English language too, right? This is in other languages as well?
So far, we've looked at 3 different languages, German, French, and Spanish. We're founded in each one of those languages. If someone is bilingual, you can get reversals in both languages. Sometimes a sentence will start out in one language and switch halfway through into another one. So the assumption is if it's a natural form of language, then we should find it in all languages. But we've only looked at 3 so far. Yeah, I know what to tell you. It's such an amazing, incredible, fantastic phenomenon. You know, I've been doing it for 40 years, and I love it as much today as when I first started.
Now, if I were to verbatim repeat what someone is saying, like the tapes that you just played of Hillary Clinton, for example, or Trump, if I were to say the exact same thing that she said or he said, when you reversed my speech, would I say the same?
Several ways to answer that question. We've obviously tried that many times. If you can reproduce his voice tone and intonation exactly the same way he said it, you will get something similar backwards. But if 2 people were to say exactly the same sentence as like if both of you two said the same sentence, and you said it differently, as we all do in conversation, then no, you might get it on one but not the other. So it's really to do with the very unique, intricate sounds of speech that create the reversals. And like I said, 2 people can say the same sentence and you get completely different reversals. But if you can duplicate it exactly the same way it was said, you can get something close. Yeah.
And you said you use this in therapy. So would this be a good or maybe bad tool for couples therapy?
Oh boy.
Or a couple of therapies.
Yeah, then you can he said this, but what did he really mean? He said he's not cheating, but is he really? Now,
Well, look,
kind of interesting.
I took this in the therapeutic area because I was a therapist before reverse speech. So, I used to work with kids. I was a youth counsellor back in my early days. And so it was sort of very natural for me to take it into that area. So excuse my cat here. But yeah, I've got a very busy practice. I'm currently working with about 25 clients right now. And, I work with all sorts of issues from, working with a young man now with autism, getting some fantastic results with him. See, reversals will tell us exactly what's caused it, and in many cases tell us how to fix it. Let me just put my cat down for a second, and I'll play you a quick example in therapy that shows you how powerful this is in the therapeutic situation. The one I'm looking for is, where is it? Here it is. Okay, this is a woman with money problems, and she's talking to me about her money issues.
She and I need to work this issue out, but it started to bring up all my money fears and stuff. And the thing is if I know I start sourcing fear again, I'm going to go way downhill.
Want to do that.
Backwards, she says, work on my grief.
Work on my grief. Work on my grief.
So the reversal's telling us exactly what we need to do to work with her money problems, work on her grief. Now, using regular therapy, it might have taken several sessions to get to the fact that she had grief issues that was causing her money problems. But reverse speech can tell me in just one simple recording. Right.
So there's no way to hide this reverse speech then, right? Like it's
scary.
The scary thing is that we're broadcasting our innermost thoughts to people without realizing it as we're talking. So it makes me not want to say anything. Karen, take over the show.
No, I'm thinking we've got Alexa in the living room listening to the conversations. Right. Who knows what she's doing?
Well, until we get a lot more analysts out there than just me and the few handful I've trained, you're all pretty safe. And until it's the one. What's the word looking for? Thank you. Is the immense time it takes to analyze recordings. I mean, for a half an hour political speech, I'll be spending 3 or 4 hours analyzing the whole tape. So it's a very time intensive process. You've got to be really patient and dedicated. And, I think we could probably get trained speech recognition to find it for us. We approached Microsoft at one stage to see if they were interested in going into the project with us, but they weren't. So currently, it's just a lack of funds.
That's because Bill Gates doesn't want his secrets out there everywhere.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, I'm absolutely floored. Could this be? I know a lot of people that listen to the show are probably going to think, "Well, that's your higher self sending messages out there."
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, it is your higher self. Look, I say it's the voice of the unconscious, but really it's the voice of the spirit talking to us. Let me play one. Have I got time for one more reversal?
Yeah, absolutely. We love these, so please play as many as you want.
All right, this is obviously spirit talking. I've got a very persistent cat who doesn't want to go off my table. All right, so here's an analyst talking to his tape player. He's right about money problems.
Does it further for us to put more energy and money and effort?
Backwards, he says, "You're frightened. Lean on me."
You're frightened. Lean on me.
Wow! Whoa!
I think
that's backwards.
That's
that might spirit. Hey?
Yeah, that might be one of the clearest ones you've played so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the spirit talking to him, saying, "Look, I know you're frightened, I know you're upset. Just lean on me." And there is so many messages from spirit in reverse speech. when I'm working with clients, I'll find a half a dozen direct messages from spirit to the conscious mind saying, do this, do that. I mean, look, we all know that still small voice is within. We hear it ourselves sometimes, we can feel it. And what I'm saying is nothing new. I'm not saying anything we don't already know. We know that voice is there. But what I am saying is now we can hear it consciously. We can actually tap into that inner spiritual self. And wow, it's incredible.
Well, that's a really good point, right? Because my next question was going to be, well, how do you, if this mechanism is there, what's the use of it if you and I just sitting here talking, we're not consciously aware of the messages that we're giving and receiving in reverse speech? So what's the point of it? But I guess in some subconscious way, we do get those messages somehow.
Oh, well, yeah, that's sort of a philosophical question more than anything else. Look, I think as human beings, we are designed, as human beings, our true innate nature is to be honest with ourselves, to be honest. We have learned to be dishonest, and so the body has many mechanisms to correct that. Body language, reverse speech. The other, gee whiz, you can use it in so many areas. Therapy, why is a person really got these problems and issues? Police work. I have business clients. They'll talk to me before they're about to embark on a major business project to see what their inner self says about it. Look, the list is endless. Gee, I could get into advertising. Why do some adverts not work? Because the reversals are contrary to the advertisements. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. So,
in our day job, Karen and I do work in television. So from now on, any of our adverts that we put out there, we're going to play backwards to make sure that we're not saying the wrong messages out there, first and foremost. Secondly, I propose that anyone running for office has to go through this process before we can actually qualify to be elected anywhere. Because both of those things you played were incredible.
Yeah. And that's just a handful. I've got 40 years of work in my computer. I've got millions of reversals. I mean, I've looked at everything from JFK to the moonwalk to 911 to RFK, Martin Luther King, all the big conspiracy theories over the years. They're all in my computer.
You've got all the answers then.
I got a few.
Is there one that's really shocked you or surprised you that's just really stuck in your mind?
Yeah, there is actually. This reverse I'm about to play you now put me in a whole new area of research. Quite shocking, actually. Oh no, not shocking. Stunning. This is JFK's inaugural address in 1961. Listen to this.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
Okay, and backwards he says, head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
And again.
Oh.
What?
I know.
I have goosebumps.
Freaky.
I just got shivers down my spine. He was foreshadowing his own death.
He had a premonition of his own death. Yeah.
Wow.
And I got a few of those. Yeah, but that reversal sent me off into a whole new field. When I found that, I go, oh my God, I can't believe that. It was shocking. Well, not shocking, stunning. Stunning.
I think it's both stunning and shocking. And I am shocked. I mean, that is.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
When you're analyzing these, do you have to slow them down?
Yeah.
While you're listening to them in reverse, and that's why it takes a while? Or?
Yeah, reversals run faster than normal human speech, and they're about 20% faster. That's because the syllable count nearly always increases. If you've got 3-syllable fours, you'll have 5 or 6 backwards. There's reasons for that, which I don't have time to get into. So it gives the reversal actually run faster. I listen at about 85% of normal speed. New students will listen at 70 to 75% of normal speed. So, so I always slow it down.
So where do you go from here? You've discovered this reverse speech, and you're starting to implement it with law enforcement agencies and things like that. But where do you hope it goes from here?
Oh, dear me. Boy. Look, I think it's of such significance and of such importance that its existence impacts everything. It's revolutionary. It's a whole new paradigm shift once it's accepted. Look, my prime emphasis over the last 40 years has been to get it accepted. It's been a tough road. I had trouble with academic. Well, see, I'm not an academic. I got through high school and that's about it. So I don't have the PhD after my name. So that's unfortunately shut me off from a lot of academics, which is a shame. Monash University in Australia did tests on it 20 years ago, and they found the reversals did exist, but they did no further testing, which I was very disappointed about. I've lectured to the FBI and the CIA. If you Google reverse speech CIA, you'll see my work up on the CIA website. So I've taken to the government, I've taken to the business. Gee whiz. It almost needs to have a groundswell movement, I think, to get it accepted. I don't think the authorities want it because it's a red herring. I mean, it's a huge red herring, to say the least.
I think it'd be great for interviewing teachers or people that work with children. And do an interview just to make sure that they're not sketchy. I mean,
right. But there's no guarantees, right? That the reverse speech message will come out when you do things like that. So I wonder if maybe that's the reason you can't really rely on getting the messages. So maybe it's not as.
Yeah, look, they're not always there. It really depends on the type of conversation. In a very lax, casual conversation, you'll get a whole lot of them. But if someone's very left-brained and structured in their thinking, they'll drop off quite substantially. And there is no guarantee you'll find them right at the point you want it.
Right, that's true.
Right. And we're not really a conspiracy theory show, but one might say that maybe the powers that be don't want it out there because they're afraid of what it might reveal about what they are thinking.
Well, I have my own personal beliefs on that, which fall along the lines of what you're saying. But if I start talking about them, I'll sound like another internet nut. So we'll leave it quiet.
Totally understand and respect your wishes. We also toe that line very carefully ourselves. Well, I mean, what you're doing is absolutely fascinating and astounding.
Thank you.
You're giving away your books, all 10 of your books on your site. We're going to add those links to the show notes, as we mentioned before. We'll add all the links to people to get hold of you. But if someone wanted to get involved with reverse speech, are you currently taking on people to help you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I have classes every year. My next class intake is in July. So that's like 6 weeks away. There's a whole page on my site all about the training programs. So yes, I am actively right at this current time looking for new students to take my July class. So yes.
And then once they take your class, they'll be able to discover these and on their own and use the software to find these reverse messages.
Yes, that's the whole purpose of the class, to teach people how to find it, to recognize what is imagination, to find what is genuine. Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult skill to teach, but I get them there.
I would imagine that would be hard. Am I really hearing this, or am I just?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
who's kind of deciphering that?
And yet, I will say that some of the clips that he's played are absolutely distinct. Right? There's no mistaking it. I don't think.
That's what that's what I tell the skeptics. Listen, these are clear. You're not having to sort of really try and say, yeah, I can sort of hear that. It's like these are right in your face. They all are. They're all right in your face. They're all stunningly clear.
They really are.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I think we're running out of time, but I'm curious. Do you have one more that you've got to share with us before the show ends?
All right, let me play you one of my favorite reversals of all time. This is my own daughter, and she's in a bathtub, and she's trying to pick up a cup. She can't pick it up, so she reaches out to me for help. This is before she can speak forwards. Backwards, she says, "David," which is my name. "David, help me." You like that one?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, now that's
wow.
That sounded like was it Poltergeist?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's in a bathroom and it's echoing, so it gives that sort of eerie sound to it.
Yes. Oh my god!
Wow. So this is a girl that didn't know how to speak yet, and yet reverse messages was very distinct. Where she said, "David, help me."
Well, part of my theory is that children speak backwards before they do forwards. I've got kids speaking in reverse, single words at 4 months of age. then they get into sentences around about 12 months of age. So, but that's a whole other show.
Wow.
David, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing of your
You're most
expertise with
welcome.
our audience. I'm going to download your software, and I'm going to Karen.
I know we're
Get ready.
We're speechless here.
Get ready. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to all of our shows, and I'm going to play every single one of them. Yeah, I'm doing it secret. I don't want you to hear what I say, but I want to hear what you say all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Well, David, thanks so much for coming
No
on. Really
worries. Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
This has
I
been
appreciate
fantastic.
it.
it.
Okay.
And best of luck for you to you in the future.
All right. Bye-bye. See ya.
And thanks to you for coming along on this journey of discovery. We'd love to continue our conversation with you on our website or on Facebook. We can find us there and on Instagram under @Skeptic Metaphysician, or you can visit us at skepticmetaphysician.com. And if you're listening to this on the radio and missed anything, not to worry. All of our shows, including this one, can be found at skepticmetaphysician.com, where you can also watch the videos or even send us email or voicemails directly from the site. We absolutely love feedback and would appreciate hearing from you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. That's all for now. We'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.